It looks like the fairy tale is cracking. Gypsy Rose and Ken, for months, they've been feeding the internet this dreamy image of a couple holding it together. But behind the scenes, everything is falling apart and fast. What started as speculation is now becoming clearer every single episode of Lifetime series. This isn't just a breakup rumor. This is slow motion unraveling, and we're here to break it all down. Starting with Christy accidentally exposed and why that might be the final blow to this already sinking ship. This episode didn't waste time. Right out of the gate, we are thrown into a therapy session with Gypsy and Ken, and the discomfort is almost tangible. Ken sits there, shoulders stiff, barely making eye contact. He admits he's still figuring things out.
So I'm very new to this, and learning how to navigate this has been a process of my own that I'm trying to figure out.
I don't want him to stay because of the baby. I want him to want this relationship to work.
Still unsure if this relationship is even something he wants. And let's be honest, that's not the kind of energy you want coming from your so-called partner. That alone speaks volumes. Now, here's where it starts to get messy. The only reason Ken's even present in this relationship, the only reason he's even in that chair, talking to the therapist with Gypsy, is because she got pregnant. And according to the narrative, it was all unexpected.
I wish that she had gotten through this divorce process before this happened.
But let's pause right there. Was it really unexpected? Let's rewind and examine what we actually know. Ken's mother, Raina, didn't miss words. From the very beginning, both she and Rod, yes, Gypsy's dad, had warned Ken about this. They told him flat out that Gypsy was obsessed with the idea of becoming a mother. That wasn't a secret. It was discussed in season 1 and brought back in this very episode. Raina made it crystal clear. She had told Ken multiple times not to go down this road. She said Gypsy had baby fever. She had talked about it obsessively.
I wasn't the only one who said it. I'm like, she wants a baby. She's been saying she wants a baby. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. A month later, Mom. I have no words. But you know what? And at the end of the day, a baby is a blessing.
It wasn't a passing comment. It was a full-on campaign. And what happened next? Exactly a month later, Gypsy's pregnant. Now, either Ken deliberately ignored every single warning from the people closest to him, or Gypsy took matters into her own hands and engineered the pregnancy. And honestly, Raina practically spells it out. She suggests Gypsy probably lied about being on the pill. And when you look at how perfectly everything lines up, the timing, the warnings, Gypsy's history, it's hard not to think this was intentional. This wasn't a surprise. It wasn't an accident. This was a move, a strategy, a last-ditch effort to lock down Ken. And guess what? It worked, because now Ken is stuck in a situation he never really wanted. And Gypsy? She's holding the baby up like a VIP pass that keeps her access to Ken valid. And in that very same therapy session, she breaks down in tears and says, I want him to stay because he wants me, not because of the baby.
I don't want to put him in any sort of like a negative headspace. And I don't want him to have resentment towards me for like how fast everything moved. Like I told him, I don't want him to stay because of the baby. I want him to want this relationship to work.
But she knows, everyone knows, that the baby is the only thing anchoring Ken to her. And that's the tragic part. Even as she says those words, there's this undertone of depression, like she's trying to convince herself more than the therapist. And honestly, it's hard to watch. So when we see Gypsy crying on the therapy couch, it's not just about love or heartbreak. It's about power. It's about control. It's about realizing that the very thing she thought would keep Ken close is also the thing that proves he doesn't actually want her. And if we as viewers can see all of this from just one scene, imagine what's really going on behind the cameras. Fast forward just a few days. Ken, looking unbothered and free, is lounging on the bench in Waveland. The sun is out, the waves are calm, and he's living like a man without a care in the world. No baby crying, no emotional drama, no Gypsy. Just ocean breeze and peace. You can almost feel the relief through his Instagram story. He's recharging, resetting, getting back to himself. But that peaceful energy doesn't last long. Suddenly, Gypsy pops up on TikTok. This time, it's a clip of their baby wailing in distress, her tiny face red and scrunched in pain. The caption reads, "It's been the third night of colic," with a sad face emoji to drive the point home. No words spoken, but the message is loud and clear. She's overwhelmed, alone, and emotionally drained.
So here's what we know. Ken is in Florida, and her baby's having a hard time. and GRB doesn't know what to do. So usually when she posts these types of things and these dance videos and lip sync, it's when her and Ken are going through something.
And guess what? The very next day, Ken's back in Louisiana. He posts a story saying he went to pick his girls. Coincidence? Definitely not. You start to notice the pattern. Every time Ken creates space between them, every time he attempts a breather, Gypsy sends up the flare. A flare shaped like a crying baby, a helpless mother, a moment of crisis, and every time, without fail, Ken comes running. But this isn't a healthy dynamic. It's not a supportive partnership. It's a game of emotional tug-of-war. Because here's the truth. That baby is the last thread holding this whole relationship together. Ken might not be emotionally present with Gypsy. He might not even love her anymore, if he ever truly did, but he cares about that child. And Gypsy, she knows this better than anyone. She knows how to pull the string that just had enough to reel him back in. This isn't about love. This is no passion here. No mutual support or shared dreams. What we are witnessing is something raw, transactional, and deeply sad. This isn't romantic. This is survival. It's not about building a future together. It's about Gypsy trying to hold onto a man who's mentally halfway out the door, using the one thing she knows he'll never ignore, his baby. And it works. Over and over again, it works. But at what cost? Ken straight up told his half-brother Chase that he had no interest in BS wedding.
A lot of questions about like when are we gonna get married? Well, we're taking our time. Like, we're not rushing into anything, you know. The most challenging part is until she's up parole, is having to figure out like how we're gonna co-parent. You know, I hate saying co-parent, but that's just the term that we have to use because we can't live together.
Yeah.
So like,
God, that must be difficult.
She can't stay at my house all the time. She has to go back home for her parole stipulations.
There's no legal exceptions for the baby?
Well, yes. I mean, if we were married, that would be one way out. But like, I don't want to have like some bull courthouse wedding just to get the marriage stamp. For now.
His words were blunt, honest, and honestly, a little heartbreaking. He didn't want to celebrate love or commitment in the traditional sense. He didn't want rings, vows, or anything close to a real union. What he did want, however, was a place to live, a roof where he and Gypsy could cohabitate purely for the sake of raising their child. Not to raise a family, to raise a child. And that right there is the difference that changes everything. One is built on love. The other is built on obligation. He wasn't trying to build a life with Gypsy. He was trying to build a household that just so happened to include her because she is the mother of his child. This wasn't about romantic future. It was about a logistical plan, a necessary arrangement to co-parent under the same roof. And the most telling part, he was only making this plan because of parole restrictions, not because he wanted to be by her side. Not because he was eager, but just because legally they couldn't live together yet. And once that was lifted, he was going to move in not as a partner, but as a co-parent. If there was no baby, let's be real, he wouldn't be here. And that's not some tabloid rumor or online speculation. That's Ken's own words spoken on camera for the world to hear. And all of this entire moment, was filmed around the same time rumors started flying that Gypsy and Ken had already broken up. The internet was buzzing, people were asking questions. Was the fairy tale already falling apart? Then suddenly, poof, those breakup rumors were buried under the brand new distraction, a baby shower. Just like that, they were back together, smiling, posting, playing the part. But it felt too convenient, too well timed. Content creator Nina even spilled the tea that she had inside info about the split, and that Lifetime would eventually show the breakdown on screen. So when the baby shower photos started flooding timelines, it raised more questions than answers. Were they really back together, or were they performing for the cameras? Because from the looks of it, someone was doing damage control. And that, everyone let out when the baby shower posts dropped. That wasn't confusion, that was suspense. Then came the infamous lie. Christy joined a live stream with Natasha, a family friend. She was supposed to shut down the breakup rumors. That's what everyone expected, but instead, she slipped up. Bad.
I mean, we've had some serious discussions, her and I, and, you know, I'm going to tell you like this. She knows what not to do. No, they did not break up. Somebody put it on a banner, on a forehead, something. They did not break up.
I wish I could run a banner across this like you can on StreamYard that says they did not break up. This has been the craziest mess. I mean, they're so, and this is what I'm saying. I mean, when people make up these rumors and these lies just for clicks and views.
Right.
That they are very well aware that they have a snake in their midst.
Yes, we very aware. And like I said, I think I know who it is. And I got to do a little more digging. But like I said, Natasha will be the first to know.
Yeah.
Because I'll let Natasha blow this shit all out the water. How do you have a snake if it's not true?
Christy admitted she knew there was a snake in the family who linked the breakup story. She said she was trying to find them. But that sentence right there revealed more than she wanted to. Because if the story was fake, why would you be hunting down a family member over it? That's not what you do with a lie. That's what you do when someone told the truth and made you look bad. One viewer asked her point blank, "How is it a snake if the rumor isn't true?" Christy didn't know what to say. She froze because she realized she had just exposed herself and Gypsy and Ken. The show is painting a clear picture, and it's not a pretty one. Episode 1, Ken embraces Gypsy at a restaurant, forces her to order something she didn't want. She ends up crying in the bathroom. He doesn't even notice. That's not love. That's apathy.
We were at dinner. I didn't want to eat the fancy stuff. He told the waiter, like, she lied. Like, she didn't eat any of this crap.
You are so disappointed.
What are you liking this time around?
He didn't eat that.
She's lying. She didn't even try it because she's afraid.
That embarrassed me. I wasn't going to say at dinner and, like, ruin the night. Like, hey, you embarrassed me. You hurt my feelings.
To me, that was just like a humorous, like lighthearted sarcasm. But that really offended her. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't have. You know, that's how she felt. She was upset. Makes me think about, you know, what I say, how I say it, and just try to be more sensitive. Are you excited about the house?
I think it's going to be a good place for you and the baby.
What about you? My problem is...
Episode 2, the infamous hairbrush fight. Gypsy finds his ex-girlfriend's brush. She freaks out, not because of the brush, but because Ken's clearly not over his ex. We know this because Gypsy later made a video mocking the situation, pretending she wasn't jealous. But in the comments, she exposed herself again. Someone said, "You have his baby, don't be insecure." Gypsy replied, "Yes, we have a kid. However, he placed those insecurities there. He never says, 'I choose you.' It's always, 'She wants nothing to do with me.'" Read it again. Read it again. Ken doesn't choose her. He's just there because his ex doesn't want him. Gypsy even knows that. That's why she clings to her baby. It's the only reason he's still around. Gypsy even admitted the bedroom isn't working anymore. Ken's not as vibrant. The chemistry is gone. And let's not forget, they have been in couples therapy since the beginning. That alone says everything. This isn't a relationship thriving on love and joy. It's surviving on guilt and obligation. Gypsy wants Ken badly, but Ken, he looks like a man serving time in another kind of prison. She's insecure, she's worried, and she knows he could leave any moment. That's why she guilt-tripped him the moment he tried to enjoy a little vacation.
Quiet she got. Because she realized she slipped up. I thought I would be able to prove to you guys that I was telling the truth, but I didn't expect it this fast. Tell me you don't have critical thinking skills without telling me you don't have critical thinking skills.
So when Kristy accidentally called her insider a snake, she wasn't just being dramatic. She revealed that the relationship is just an act. A fragile one they're trying to maintain until who knows, until the show ends, until parole is over. But here's the $1,000,000 question. Will Gypsy let go of Ken? Ever? Not likely. She's gripping him with everything she has. Emotional manipulation, the baby, public sympathy, because she knows once he walks away, it's over. So what happens next? Will they break up after the camera stop rolling? Will Ken finally say what he's clearly feeling? Or will Gypsy keep up this charade until there's nothing left to hide? You tell me. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Will Gypsy ever let go? Can this baby really save a relationship that was never solid to begin with? Like and subscribe to stay updated because this drama, it's far from over. And trust me, Christy said way more than she meant to.